Okay, good morning, students. So today, introduction to probability. I'm just sharing the slides. Okay, so today we are trying to finish the introduction to probability and start the stochastic process. So first of all, let us do the law of large number. So this states that if let x1, x2, xn be independent random variable with the common mean mu and common variance sigma square, and Sn is defined as summation xi, then for any epsilon greater than 0, probability that mod of Sn by n minus mu is less than epsilon goes to 1 as n goes to infinity. That means probability that mod of xn bar minus mu less than epsilon goes to 1 as n goes to infinity, because xn bar is nothing but Sn by n. That means mean will approach towards a sample mean will approach towards the population mean basically. So that is the meaning in law of this. This is known as the weak law of large number. So let me just give you the proof of the idea of the proof. So solution is because Sn is summation. So we want to show that x1, x2, xi are independent with common mean mu and common variance sigma square, and we define Sn as summation xi, i's from 1 to n. Then for any epsilon greater than 0, probability mod of xn bar, where xn bar is nothing but Sn by n minus mu less than epsilon goes to 1 as n goes to infinity. So solution will be because using the Shabshis inequality. So we know that variance of Sn, this will be variance of summation xi, but they are independent. So this will be summation I is from 1 to n, variance of xi. This will be n times sigma square, because variance is given to as sigma square. Okay, so what is the variance of xn bar? This is variance of Sn by n. This will be 1 divided by n square into n sigma square. That means sigma square by n, isn't it? Okay, so this is in this fashion, because variance of a times x is a square times variance of x. This already we have done. So using that basically. So now you know that using what is Shabshis inequality? Inequality says that probability for any general random variable mod of xn minus mu less than k is greater than equal to 1 minus sigma square by k square. So for small epsilon, probability mod of xn bar minus mean of xn bar, because mean of expected value of xn bar is summation xi. So that means this will be because this is Sn by n. So therefore, this will be 1 by n summation I is from 1 to an expected value of xi. But this is given as mu. So n times mu by mu, n times mu by n. So this is mu. So in this fashion, we will get this value. Okay, so for small epsilon, this is xn bar minus mean, because mean is this, less than equal to epsilon, greater than equal to 1 minus sigma square upon sigma square here is how much of xn bar, sigma square by n. So sigma square by n upon epsilon square using Shabsh's inequality, because variance of xn here is sigma square by n. So because of xn, we are replacing mean of xn. This is variance of x, variance of x. So what variance of xn here is sigma square by n. So as n goes to infinity, this goes to 1. Provided that variance exists. Okay. So therefore, this is the proof basically with what we want to show. Okay. So this is the law of large numbers. That means xn bar approaches towards mu. So for example, you may have a dice and you, so we get I is from 1 to 6. You get 1 with probability 1 by 6 if this is a fair, okay, dice. Okay, so what is the mean of x? Can anyone tell what is the mean for this? If x is, we get number on the top face of the dice. X is the number on top face of dice. We are rolling a dice. So can anyone tell what will be the mean? How to find that?
Summation xpx.
Yes, summation x px. Yes, yes, yes. Good, good. So that means just value into probability, multiply that. So 1 into 1 by 6 plus 2 into 1 by 6 plus 3 into 1 by 6 plus 4 into 1 by 6 plus 5 into 1 by 6 plus 6 into 1 by 6. So that means 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 divided by 6. So that means 3.5. So what this is telling, if we do this, okay, so if we repeat this experiment, for example, we are in actual, we roll the dice. Let us say I'm getting 3, 5, 4. So what is then mean of them?
4.
4. Mean is 4. Okay, so that means let us say that in actual practice we are doing this experiment. Okay, then we are getting 4. Okay, so let us say this, and if this experiment will go on, then this is saying that this number will approach towards this xn bar will approach towards the actual mean basically. That is the basically the law of large number basically saying. Now let me just give you the now let us start with the bivariate normal distribution. So x comma y is said to be bivariate normal with the mean mu1 mu2 with parameter mu1 mu2 sigma 1 square sigma 2 square and rho if the joint density is given by fxy, which is 1 by 2 pi sigma 1 sigma 2 under root of 1 minus rho square e raised to power minus 1 by 2 1 minus rho square x minus mu1 upon sigma 1 square minus 2 rho x minus mu1 sigma 1 y minus mu2 upon sigma 2 plus y minus mu2 upon sigma 2 whole square. So we can separate here the quantities. First of all, we can take the value as bivariate normal. So fxy is 1 divided by 2 pi sigma 1 sigma 2 under root 1 minus rho square e raised to power minus q by 2, where q is nothing but 1 divided by 1 minus rho square x minus mu1 upon sigma 1 square minus 2 rho x minus mu1 upon sigma 1 y minus mu2 upon sigma 2 plus y minus mu2 upon sigma 2 whole square. Okay, so this is q, same thing what we have basically written here. This quantity we are writing as q. Now this q can be written as 1 divided by 1 minus rho square. We can take y minus mu2 upon sigma 2 minus rho x minus mu1 upon sigma 1 square of this. So we will get this value minus 2 rho of this quantity plus something extra plus rho square x minus mu1 upon sigma 1 whole square, that we have to cancel. So but that means 1 minus rho square x minus mu1 upon sigma 1 whole square, this quantity we are getting. Okay, so this is the quantity q. So fxy, so therefore from here this fxy, because e raised to power minus q by 2 is there, so fxy can be written as these values 1 by under root 2 pi sigma 1 e raised to power minus half x minus mu1 upon sigma 1 square, because this will be okay, so this will be cancelled with this quantity and we are left with x minus mu1 upon sigma 1 square. And other quantity we can take common 1 minus here sigma 2 square we can take common and we will get this value 1 divided by 2 upon sigma 2 square 1 minus rho square y minus mu2 minus rho sigma 2 by sigma 1 x minus mu whole square of this. So using that we can say this is our q1x. This we can say as q2 xy. Okay, so now to find out the marginal distribution of x, we have to integrate. So we have to integrate. So therefore fxy becomes 1 by under root 2 pi sigma 1 e raised to power minus half x minus mu1 upon sigma 1 whole square from here, because this value is also there. Okay, and this will cancel out and into 1 divided by under root 2 pi sigma 2 under root 1 minus rho square e raised to power exp means e raised to power minus 1 divided by 2 1 minus rho square sigma 2 square, this quantity into y minus mu2 minus rho sigma 2 by sigma 1 x minus mu1 whole square. So am I audible, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So therefore, we can write this as q1x into q2 xy, where this quantity I am writing as q1x, other quantity I am writing as q2xy. So now if I have to find out the marginal of x, we have to integrate joint over y. That means this is q1x integrating q2xy dy. That means this quantity we are integrating over y. Okay, so but this you can easily see that this is nothing but normal distribution with mean as mu2 plus rho sigma 2 by sigma 1 x minus mu1 and variance as sigma 2 square 1 minus rho square. That means this quantity integration will be 1. So therefore this value is q1x. So from here q1x is nothing but this value. But this that means this is normal mu comma sigma mu1 comma sigma 1 square. Similarly, y is normal mu2 comma sigma 2 square. In the same fashion, you will integrate, you will just replace the role of, in this case, you will first write down x minus mu1 upon sigma 2, sigma 1 minus rho y minus mu2 upon sigma 1. This quantity you change, and then in the same fashion you will continue and you will get the answer as y is mu2 upon sigma 2 square. Now, if we want to find out the conditional distribution of y given x is equal to x, which will be conditional distribution of this y, which is joint over marginal of x. So this will be q1x q2 x comma y divided by marginal of x. Already we have found it out, q1x. This will cancel out. So therefore this is nothing but q2xy. So can anyone tell, this is q2x comma y, what is this distribution? Whose density is this? This is normal distribution 1 by under 2 pi sigma. Sigma here is sigma 2 upon 1 minus rho square e raised to power minus half sigma square upon into y minus mu whole square. So here role of mu is mu2 minus mu2 plus rho sigma 2 upon sigma 1 x minus mu1, and variance is sigma 2 square 1 minus rho square. So therefore conditional distribution of y given x is equal to x will be normal with the mean mu2 plus rho sigma 2 by sigma 1 x minus mu1. From here you can easily see this thing. And what will be the variance? This value. So therefore variance will be sigma 1 minus rho square. And what is the conditional distribution of x given y is equal to y? In the same fashion, just replace the role of mu1 with mu2 with mu1, mu1 with mu2, sigma 1 with sigma 1, and so on, x with y. So in the similarly, this will be rho sigma 1 by sigma 2, y minus mu2 sigma 1 square 1 minus rho square. So this is the quantity. Now, what is the conditional mean? This is the expected value of y given x is equal to x, and this is the variance of y given x is equal to x. Okay, so this is nothing but something alpha plus beta x. Okay, so conditional distribution here is something alpha plus beta x. So this is used in correlation analysis. Okay, so by way, if you have done the regression analysis, and if the in the regression analysis one of the variable is dependent, other is independent, but in the correlation analysis both and x and y are random variables. Okay, and they are basically both of them, because in the regression analysis one is a random variable, other is basically known value, x is equal to small x. Okay, but in this regression correlation analysis both x and y are random variables. Then you assume that they follow bivariate normal distribution and you do the analysis according to that. Okay, now we want to expected value of y given x is equal to x is mu2 plus rho sigma 2 by sigma 1 x minus mu1. Okay, so now what is the expected value of x y given x is equal to x? So just multiply with x, because x is equal to small x. So this will be x times expected value of y given x. This will be mu2x plus rho sigma 2 by sigma 1 x square minus mu1 times x. Now you replace this small x by random variable x. What you get? Mu2x plus rho sigma 2 by sigma 1 x square minus mu1 x. Okay. Now you know that expected value of x, already we have shown that is expected value of x given y. This thing we have already shown the last class. So expected value of x given y is expected value of x y given x. So this expectation of this value basically, so this will be mu2 expected value of x plus rho sigma 2 by sigma 1 expected value of x square minus mu1 expected value of x. Okay, just plugging in the expectation of this value. Now can anyone tell what is the expectation of x?
Sir, sir, can you please explain that first step? Expectation of xy given x is equal to x into expectation of y given x.
Yeah, I am just saying that the proof will go in the same fashion. You have done this proof now. I can just show you this proof. Yes. So I want to show that expected value of x given y is expected value of x. Okay. So
No, sir, I am asking the above step. So that expectation value of xy given x is equal to x into expectation of y given x.
Yeah,
That
same,
one.
same. I'm telling that proof in the same fashion. You are saying this thing, I think. This step you are asking, na?
No, sir. Above that, the two lines
This
above that.
step. This.
Above that. Yes, sir. This one.
Yeah, this is nothing but because you know that meaning is this. This is the meaning. Expected value of x given small x means expected value of x given x is equal to small x. So this is nothing but expected value of x y given x is equal to small x. So you just, because you know that x is equal to small x, so this value will be x, y given x is equal to x. So this will come outside because
Okay, sir.
now
Got it.
x,
Okay.
because small x is now a constant which will come outside of the integration or summation of the densities basically.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, okay. Now, because this expected value of x is mu1 rho sigma 2 by sigma 1 and expected value of x square, because variance of x is sigma square, so sigma square will be expected value of x square minus mean square. Okay, so therefore expected value of x square will be sigma 1 square plus mu 1 square minus mu 1 into mu 1. This will cancel out. Therefore, this will be mu1 mu2 plus rho sigma 1 sigma 2. This is expected value of xy. Now you know that covariance between x comma y by definition is expected value of xy minus mean of x, mean of y. So therefore this will be nothing but mu1 mu2 plus rho sigma 1 sigma 2 minus mu1 mu2. This will cancel out. So therefore this will be rho sigma 1 sigma 2. Therefore the correlation coefficient between x comma y is covariance xy divided by standard deviation of x, standard deviation of y. So therefore this is rho. So what we have done, we have basically taken a density which is bivariate normal and shown that corresponding to x comma y random variable, this is the joint density. We have shown that mu1 is the mean of x, sigma 1 is the standard deviation of x, mu2 is the mean of y, sigma 2 is the standard deviation of y, and rho is the correlation coefficient. Okay, so this is the thing we have shown here in this bivariate normal distribution. Also, we have stated that because in the regression analysis, you know that one of the variable is dependent, other is basically fixed variable. Okay, so for example, you have the water depth and you are measuring the water temperature at certain depth. Okay, so you find out the conditional distribution of x given small x. Okay, so here your depth of the water is fixed. and then you are measuring the water temperature. So conditional distribution is this. Now, this you are in the regression analysis, you are assuming that this is yi at let us say xi and some corresponding to some variable which is fixed at certain point. So here relationship between them is required. Yi is equal to alpha plus beta xi plus epsilon. So one of the variable is random variable, other one is fixed. But in the correlation studies, both x and y are assumed to be random variable. Under that condition, we assume that they follows a bivariate normal distribution. Then their mean will be something of this type, alpha plus beta x. Okay. So then, okay, so that is the thing. Okay. Also, if you plot this, if you do in the MATLAB or R, etc., so then you can easily see that this is x, y, fxy. So then so this is of this shape basically in the 3D basically. So let us take an example. The failure of tube can occur as a result of thermal wear of the internal components. Let X denote the modified life of tube, Y denote the thermal wear of internal components. Let X and Y have bivariate normal distribution with parameter mu X as 3, mu Y as 1, sigma X square as 16, sigma Y square 25, rho as 3 by 5. Determine this probability. X is between minus 3 to 3. So because we are assuming the bivariate normal distribution, so therefore X will be normal with the mean 3 and variance as 16. So then you can use, because use the standardization, X is normal. So Z will be basically X minus its mean divided by its standard deviation 4. So you can do that. So after that you will get this value. Now then after that you apply, as we are doing the previous case also in the when we have done the normal distribution, you can use the CDF. This will be phi of 0, which is half, and minus phi of minus 1.5. This value you can see from the table. Now, if you want to find out the probability that X is between minus 3 to 3, given Y is equal to minus 4. So now you know the conditional distribution. X minus Y is equal to minus 4. We have just shown that this will be mu X plus rho, sigma X upon sigma Y, Y minus mu Y, sigma X square 1 minus rho square. So just plugging in all the values, we get this value. So therefore, this will be, because this is following normal distribution, so we can convert into Z minus 0.6 divided by under root of 10.24. That will be standard normal. Similarly, Z here will be X. Okay, this will be basically follows normal 0, 1. Okay, so in this fashion, you can use the table. Sir. So this finishes the introduction to probability. So any question till now? Process or random process? what is a stochastic process? Stochastic process is a family of random variable xt where T belongs to the index set capital T defined on a given probability space indexed by the parameter T, where T varies over the index set capital T. So we will take some example. Okay, the values assumed by the random variable xt are called states and set of all possible values of state space form the state space S of the process. So basically, corresponding to a stochastic process, we have a state space, which is the value taken by the random variable xt, and a parameter space or a time space, which is given by capital T. So based on these two, we can define four type of stochastic process: discrete state, and discrete parameter or time stochastic process. Or one is this, other is discrete state, continuous parameter or time stochastic process. Other one is continuous state, discrete time or parameter, and both of them are continuous. So these are the four types. So we will have four types. Types are discrete state, discrete parameter or time stochastic process, discrete state, continuous parameter time stochastic process, then continuous state, continuous parameter stochastic process, continuous state, discrete parameter time stochastic process. So these are different types of stochastic processes which can be easily observed. So now let us give examples of these, some example where all these four types of stochastic process occur. Consider a queuing system with jobs arriving at random point in time, queuing for service and departing from the system after service completion. So this is we have a queuing system where jobs are arriving at random point in time, queuing for service. That means they are standing for service in a line and departing from the system after service completion. So this queuing system may be, for example, your banking system, or you may think of a some programs which are basically coming to the server, and in the server they are processed, then they leave. So programs are coming, they will stand to be processed at the server, and then after the service completion they leave the system. Okay, so now let us define different types of stochastic process under same setup. So let us define xt is the number of jobs in the system at time t. So what is the state space? What is the value xt can take? Number of jobs, this can take value 0, number of jobs can be 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, and what is the parameter space at the time t? Okay, this will be t, where t is greater than equal to 0. Okay, so this is discrete state continuous parameter. Okay, so we can say discrete state space continuous parameter stochastic process. So this is the example of that. Let us take another stochastic process. Wk, let the variable random variable of stochastic process Wk denote the time that the kth customer has to wait in the system before receiving service. Okay. So Wk is the time that the kth customer has to wait. So clearly this is Wk denote the time. That means state space is basically x, where x is greater than equal to 0. That is the time basically. This is continuous state, and kth customer has time that the kth customer has to wait. The customer is basically the parameter. So t is basically 1, 2, 3, and so on, because this is the customer. Okay, so therefore this is our Wk. Here I can say xt. Here Wk is basically your continuous state discrete parameter stochastic process. Okay, let us take another example. Let we define YT as cumulative service requirement that means experience of all jobs in the system at time t. So YT is the cumulative service requirement. So here service requirement may be, for example, 1 year, 1.1 year, and so on. So that means this is 0 to infinity. And T is basically at time t, T is also continuous here. So therefore, that is also 0 to infinity. So therefore, this is our YT is continuous state, continuous parameter or time stochastic process. Okay, because YT is basically cumulative service requirement. How much experience the person has, that is 0 to infinity. And at the of the all jobs in the system at time t. So time t is basically 0 to infinity anytime. Okay, so that is also continuous. Let us give let nk is the number of jobs in the system at the time of the departure of the kth customer after service completion. Let nk is the number of jobs in the system at the time of departure of kth customer. So number of jobs. So state space is clearly the number of jobs. Jobs can be 0, 1, 2, and so on. Discrete state and time of departure of kth customer. Because kth customer is the basically parameter space. So 1 customer, 2 customer, 3 customer, and so on. So therefore, this is nk. K belongs to T is the discrete state, discrete parameter stochastic process. So this is the example where under the same setup we have defined different types of stochastic processes. So any question till now?
Sir, please scroll up a bit to the definition of stochastic process.
Yes.
Sir, so we can have multiple variables in the as a state, right?
Yeah, state is basically the value assumed by xt basically.
Sir, can you give an example of a state where multiple variables are there?
Maybe if the experiment is defined in such a fashion, for example, you may let us say some transmission is going on. If let us say 0 0 is transmitted as either 0 0 or not, or 0 0 is transmitted as 1 1 1. Okay, and 1 1 is transmitted as something like this. Okay, so then under that condition, this may be the state space, taken as state space.
So, sir, suppose that we have two variables x and y for us for the sample states. So, can we say that the sample state space would be x cross y?
You just repeat.
Sir, suppose that we have we have this x and y as the random variables for in this specific process. So for the sample state space, can we say that it consists of x cross y?
You may, for example, this is defined for xt basically. So for multiple, then you may define in that fashion also, but that we are not discussing here. So, but you may have that kind of things. For example, x1 t, x2 t kind of things I think you are talking about. Yeah. So some examples we will take in the basically, for example, Markov chains are there. That is also stochastic process, and similarly so on. Okay, so we will take some examples where, for example, you have asked for these kind of things. First of all, this where you have the state space of this type. For example, x comma y type. Okay, for example, 0 comma 0. 1 0, these kind of state space. So we will take these kind of examples when we will move further.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So let us, I think, stop here. So next time we will start a stochastic process, which is a discrete time Markov chain. Okay, and then some examples we will give, which will basically whatever queries you are asking. So that is also some example I have given. So that is also taken care there. Okay. So